December 8th, 2013. A rainy night in Singapore, one of the safest cities in the world. The colourful streets of Little India hum with life until chaos explodes. Cars burn, mobs clash with police, and a single accident sparks a riot that shakes the nation. This peaceful district would erupt into the worst riots the country had seen. But how did this happen? And why do so few people talk about it today? This is the untold story of the Little India Riot. It all began with Sakthivel Kumaravelu, a 33-year-old construction worker from India. Like many foreign workers in Singapore, he had come in search of a better life. He left his village in India just 2 years earlier, hoping to provide a brighter future for his family. On the evening of December 8th, 2013, Sakthivel was unwinding in Little India after a long week. For many foreign workers in Singapore, this bustling district is their favorite gathering spot. He soaked in the vibrant energy of the place before boarding a private bus back to his dormitory in Jurong in the western part of Singapore. But fate had other plans for him. At around 9:21 p.m., Sakthivel boarded the bus. He was visibly intoxicated. He had been drinking the whole evening. The bus driver, Lee Kim Hwat, was preparing to leave when several workers complained to the timekeeper, Madam Wong Gek Woon, about Sakthivel jumping the queue and being drunk. Knowing company policy forbade transporting intoxicated passengers, Madam Wong asked one of the workers to tell Sakthivel to disembark. When he refused, she stepped onto the bus herself. There she found him at the back, with trousers around his knees. She instructed him firmly to pull his trousers up and get off the bus. After back and forth, reluctantly, Sakthivel complied and alighted from the bus. As the bus slowly pulled away, Sakthivel reappeared beside it, walking alongside and attempting to board again. Lee, the bus driver, waved him off, signaling the bus was full. Instead, Sakthivel ran to catch up, placing his hand on the moving bus as it turned left. In an instant, he lost his balance, falling face first under the front left wheel. Despite the driver stopping immediately, it was too late. The wheel had already crushed Sakthivel's head and torso, killing him instantly. As news spread, a crowd of mostly fellow Tamil workers gathered. Their anger growing, tensions escalated quickly, and within minutes, the situation spiraled out of control. What began as a verbal confrontation soon turned violent. The anger of the crowd was directed primarily at the bus driver, Lee Kim Hwat, and the timekeeper, Wong Gek Woon. Amid the chaos, an unlikely hero emerged. Named the Good Samaritan by the media, he helped Lee and Wong back onto the bus, shielding them with his body. However, when the bus doors closed, the enraged mob grew even more furious. The crowd surrounded the bus, pounding on its sides and hurling objects. Some vented their rage by striking the vehicle with whatever they could find: shoes, bottles, metal drain covers, and even rubbish bins. They kicked and punched the bus, shattering its windows and windshield. A brick was hurled inside, striking Wong in the eye and leaving her bleeding. Inside the bus, panic ensued. 2 workers managed to climb through a broken window, searching for the bus driver. One repeatedly assaulted Madam Wong with a stick-like object, while the other searched for Lee, who had hidden under a rubbish bin that had been thrown into the bus. At 9:23 p.m., just 2 minutes after the accident, the first 999 call was made. The Singapore Police Force, SPF, was alerted, and an ambulance was requested. Initially, only 2 officers were dispatched to manage traffic disruptions, unaware of the violence that would soon erupt. The first sign that this was more than a traffic accident came when one of the officers noticed hundreds of people gathering around the bus. Realizing the severity of the situation, he called for backup. At 9:39 p.m., the ambulance arrived. The emergency team initially did not see the victim's body, but found the timekeeper, Wong, inside the bus. Minutes later, backup officers arrived and formed a protective barrier around the bus to allow the rescue team to safely retrieve Sakthivel's body. By this time, objects were already being hurled at the bus, some striking the officers. As the rescue team focused on assisting Wong, more officers arrived, equipped with shields and helmets. By 10:08 p.m., the bus driver and the timekeeper were escorted off the bus, surrounded by emergency responders. Officers formed a shielded path to push through the increasingly hostile crowd. Seeing the two being protected, the mob redirected their anger toward the officers, pelting them with projectiles. Rioters overturned 6 vehicles and set 4 of them on fire. The riot, which began at the accident site, quickly spread to nearby streets. It became the worst public disorder incident the country had seen in decades. As flames illuminated the streets of Little India and chaos threatened to spill beyond its boundaries, Singapore faced a moment that could have shattered its carefully built reputation as one of the world's safest nations. The stakes couldn't have been higher, a riot in the heart of a global financial hub, threatening decades of meticulously cultivated stability and order. By 10:50 p.m., with the situation spiraling dangerously out of control, Singapore's Elite Special Operations Command, SOC, was deployed and rushed to the scene. The SOC serves as Singapore's last line of defense against civil unrest. Their strategy? Containment and de-escalation. No firearms would be used, no tear gas deployed, and no water cannons needed. Instead, they relied on shield walls and strategic positioning. When faced with blocked roads, the special police dismounted their vehicles and advanced on foot. This measured approach, though criticized by some as too passive, likely prevented the situation from escalating further. As they advanced, some rioters surrendered, while others fled. The entire incident, which could have spiraled into days of unrest, like similar riots in other global cities, was contained within a 5-hour window. By 11:25 p.m., the last pockets of resistance were dispersed, bringing the riot to an end. Incredibly, no lives were lost during the rioting, yet the damage was staggering. The rioters left 62 people injured, including both officers and civilians. Emergency vehicles, including police cars and ambulances, were overturned and set ablaze. By 2 a.m., the order was fully restored and everything was under control. By December 10, 2013, the Singapore Police Force launched a massive operation reviewing CCTV footage and social media posts to identify participants. They had arrested 33 individuals, mostly Indian nationals, with more arrests following in subsequent days. The final count reached 57 people charged for their involvement in the riot. The government issued deportation orders for 57 foreign workers and banned them permanently from entering Singapore. Investigations revealed how rumors and misunderstandings fueled the riot. Many believed Sakthivel hadn't died immediately and was crying for help beneath the bus. Others accused the timekeeper, Madam Wong, of pushing him off the vehicle. None of these allegations held up under scrutiny. The riot prompted significant changes in Little India. 2 new bus terminals were constructed, replacing the open fields where workers once waited. Surveillance cameras multiplied, transforming the area into one of the most monitored districts in Singapore. Stricter alcohol control measures were implemented, quieting the once lively streets on weekends. Singapore found itself grappling with 2 starkly contrasting narratives about what caused the riot that night. On one side, many argued that the real issue was how poorly foreign workers were treated. They pointed to problems like bad living conditions in crowded dorms, not getting paid on time, and limited access to medical care, etc. They also noticed something important about the riot. The rioters mostly attacked police cars and emergency vehicles, but left civilian property alone. This suggests they were angry at the authorities, not just causing random trouble. It seemed like the riot was a way of expressing long-held frustration. On the other side, though, some locals and community leaders blamed the riot on the behavior and cultural differences of foreign workers. They pointed to concerns such as public disturbances and fights among workers, issues related to alcohol, foreign workers failing to follow Singapore's strict rules, etc. Beyond Singapore, similar tensions had erupted in other countries, in places like the Gulf states, Malaysia, and even parts of Europe. Even today in Canada, for example, there were reports of disturbances involving immigrants from India, leading to community tensions in big cities. Some believe these incidents reveal a deeper problem: cultural and behavioral differences that create tension. Differences in socializing, following rules, and handling conflicts can lead to misunderstandings, making it harder for communities to coexist peacefully. The truth, as often happens, likely lies somewhere in the middle. Singapore responded by improving worker housing and rights, while simultaneously enhancing public order measures, acknowledging that social harmony depends on addressing both sides of this complex equation. I would like to hear your thoughts on this issue. Share your opinions in the comments below. The Little India Riot is a story Singapore will never forget. It's a reminder that even in a country known for peace and order, things can go wrong in moments. For the people who lived through it, the memories stay fresh, even after the wounds have healed. Madam Wong, the bus timekeeper, she still has a small scar above her eyebrow, and to this day, she avoids Little India. Years later, she said, "Whenever my train or bus passes through Little India, I still feel nervous." Thank you for watching.